So what if I told you this one strategy helped me to attract more clients, retain clients for longer, get better client results, and improve my income as well? Well, that's what I'm going to be sharing in this video. And before we dive into it, I just want to show you just one client as an example. So this is based upon what I've actually done. It's not just made up stuff. So on screen now, you should be seeing a client of mine. Her name's Marie. Marie took over 6 months before she eventually came to see me. But when she did, she was able to get some pretty incredible results. She was able to lose over 50 pounds, completely transform her body. And not only do that, but also go on to cycle around the Isle of Man, 70 miles in a day doing a bike ride. And she was able to do that because I was able to retain her long enough, not just to get the results, but also get her fit enough to be able to do that bike ride as well. So just thought I'd share that with you so you know that everything I'm about to share now is based on fact. I've got a few props that I'm going to be using as well as I go through just to sort of make the point. So the first thing I'm going to suggest to you is this. You need to map out your client's journey, quite literally from point A to point B, from A to Z effectively. So in my case, it was busy professional women over 40 who were looking to lose anywhere between 20 and 50 pounds plus. Business professional women. That's what I was looking at. So I had to try and get into their heads, into their shoes, try and understand what it was they were going to be going through, what the challenges are going to be. Bearing in mind, I'm a bloke, so in terms of relating to them, not that easy, but it's not that difficult to do when you think about what are the logical steps that any person could take in order to get a good result. So for me, I had to break it down to 3 core areas: mindset, diet, and exercise. Now, if you're not a personal trainer listening to this, maybe you're a physiotherapist and you're thinking, well, how does that apply to me? I've got someone that's got an ACL, damaged ACL or lower back pain. Let's use lower back pain. Everyone's going to be slightly different, and I get it. Everyone is going to be different. In the same way, every client that came to me, albeit the predominance were female over 50, I occasionally got guys as well who wanted to lose weight and get into good shape. And very rarely, I would get even younger guys that want to get sort of really toned up. So how could I possibly have the same mapped out process serving those different types of audiences? Well, there are some key things that you need to be addressing. So again, in my case, it was mindset, diet, and exercise. If you're a physiotherapist, it might be, if it's lower back pain, maybe you've got to take a look at their core strength, maybe look at their postural alignment, maybe look at their habits in terms of their posture when they're at home, when they're at work, when they're at socializing. You know, you would collate all the things that you need to you'd collate all the things you need to collate in order to formulate your program. And you would then sit down and go, right, I believe if a person who goes through my assessment, if they took the following steps, all things being equal, they should see a significant improvement in their lower back pain. In the same way with my weight loss, when I mapped it all out, if somebody followed those steps that I mapped out when I coached them through it, they should see a significant difference in their weight, their health, and their fitness. Now, are there any guarantees that someone's going to 100% follow the steps and get the results? Of course not, because people are human beings, you know, we have challenges. But as the professionals, we should be able to, in my opinion, lay out some sort of a plan, some sort of a map that can get them from where they are, which is typically in pain, to where they want to be, which is in a place where they're happy, pain-free, and achieving what they want to achieve. You know, if you're a relationship coach, you know, if you're a life coach, maybe they're single, maybe they want to become, get into a relationship. So again, you would map out the steps that you think any reasonable person would take to go from being single to being in a relationship. Now, the benefits of doing this are many, too many for me to mention maybe in this short video, but a couple of the key ones I would say are, first of all, it gives you absolute clarity in your mind about how you're going to guide somebody through the process of where they are to where they want to be. So it gives you clarity in your head. It also helps you to better explain when you are talking to clients about what it is you're doing. You're not just doing random one-off sessions, which is what a lot of people still do in the health and well-being space. You don't want to be doing that. But it also gives some additional validity to what you're doing. You know, if you're speaking to somebody and you've got this mapped out process that you can explain quite clearly, that's going to give them a lot of confidence in terms of, you know what, I think this person knows what they're talking about. I'll give you a quick example. I was struggling with lower back pain a little while back now. I mean, I have it on and off, ongoing sort of thing, but you know, sometimes it flares up. And about 10 years ago, it was really bad. and I was on the verge of going to see a local chiropractor for some treatment. Now, if you're a physiotherapist, I know that might sound like heresy. If you're a chiropractor, you're probably going woo woo. But I was on the verge of going to see a chiropractor. Why? Simply because this chiropractor had put together a program to help with lower back pain. I forget the name of the program, but it was over a period of time and it cost X amount of money. But I wasn't even bothered about the money I was going to be paying. I was more interested in the outcome I was going to be getting. And that's the whole idea of mapping out your process, that you can take to market an actual outcome. And that leads nicely into the second thing that I did in my business, and that was to name it. When you name your process, your method, your strategy, your system, when you name it, I call it the signature offer system. When you name it, then that's owned by you. You have ownership of it. I'll give you another quick example. When I was working with clients face to face in my studio, I was employing staff there. I got a phone call from a doctor who'd been referred to me via a local foot consultant. We got on the phone, we were chatting away, and she said, look, blah, 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 but is it the same program that I'm going to be doing if I work with your colleague? Because I was just too busy taking more clients on board. I said, look, it would be my colleague, and her question was, is it the same program? I'm like, yeah, same program. She said, that's fine. I'll book on then. And just so you know, my program was called Coach Me Slim and Trim. Maybe you can see that in the screen there. So when you name it, you own it. I went a stage further. I actually got mine trademark registered with the R in the circle, so it was completely owned by me. In fact, I used to have people come to me and say, are you a franchise? I wasn't a franchise, but I set it up in such a way, it was so systematized that it just came across like a franchise, but with a personal touch. So that's the second thing you can do. Now, before I dive into the third thing, all the things I'm talking about here actually fit nicely into a overall system called a client growth engine. There's a link below this video. You can click on it, take it to a page, put your details in, and you'll get access to my full-blown client growth engine, where I talk about the signature offer system. I talk about creating things like lead magnets, and I talk about a system to actually start generating clients using videos that you can post for free, done organically, that doesn't cost you anything in Facebook advertising budget. So you can get that just by clicking the link below this video. So let's talk about the third thing, which is the enrollment process. Again, the enrollment process, you've got to start thinking from the client's point of view. What's the first thing that's going to happen when they actually come into contact with you? For me, it was typically a phone call more often than not. When I worked in a commercial gym, it was on the shop floor. But when I opened up my own private studios, it was over the phone. So you have to have this mapped out. And I actually have you may be able to see it on screen, an initial telephone calls and Zoom consultation. That's what I do now online, the Zoom consultations. But quite literally, that's mapped out. So when they ring up, I know the questions I'm going to be asking, I know the information I'm going to be sharing, and I know what the purpose of that call is. And the purpose of that call for me was not to sell them anything, was just to basically pre-qualify them, share some information, and see whether or not we both felt this could be a potential fit, what I was offering. And if it was, we'd then have a secondary meeting when I was in my studio. They'd come into the studio, we'd sit down, we'd go into a lot more detail. And everything was mapped out, right the way through to them signing up and becoming a client, receiving their support emails, which I would, support manuals, which were part of the program, a welcome on board booklet. So everything was mapped out so they got that sense of, oh wow, I'm investing in something proper here. Because when what I'm saying might sound quite lengthy, quite onerous, quite tiring, quite time consuming, but you only have to do it once and then you can iterate as you go along. Don't try and make it perfect to begin with. I'm probably now, albeit I'm online, so I'm in a different place from where I was, say 15 years ago when I started offline, but I'm probably now on iteration number 6 or 7 over the years. So don't go for perfection, just map something out, put it out there if you're not currently doing this, and then iterate it as you go along. But following this process will make not only your life so much easier and less stressful, it'll give the clients a lot more confidence. And because you've got those two things in place, you'll find yourself attracting clients far easier, converting them, getting better results. And that's going to have a knock-on effect to your home life as well. Because look, when business is going good, it's going to allow you to do the other things that you want to be able to do when you're not in your business. Because let's be honest, we don't always want to be seeing clients. I want to be away doing other things. I want to be going to watch some tennis matches. I want to be going out cycling. I want to be playing tennis. So it's not all about work. So by setting up some sort of a system like this is going to free you up. Yes, it takes a bit of time to begin with, but ultimately what you're after is the ability to be able to create a system that if you wanted to, you could have somebody else deliver it on your behalf. And that's where I got to in my business. Now, you may not want to do that. You may just want to stay solo, and that's perfectly fine. But if you've got aspirations at some point in the future to maybe want to bring on an associate, then this is definitely the way you want to be going. Feel free to comment below if you have any questions at all. Any questions whatsoever, do leave them below. I'm more than happy to answer. Or if you'd like me to do a particular video on a particular topic relating to how to actually create your system, then put that in the comments as well. And if it's within my gift, my experience and my knowledge bank, I will do a video on that as well. Until next time, take care. Bye for now.